before we were married. In a little village down from where we live, there was at Penkridge, there was an estate agents above the bank, and it was just French properties, and we used to go on a Saturday and go and have a look and have a dream, and then you get married and then you have children and then this, that and the other. So it was sort of then put on the back burner, and nobody really knew about it. But we kept going to Place in the Sun exhibitions and having a look round, and sort of it reignited the spark. So probably in the last 3 years.
Yeah, about 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years. It's been sort of, you know, the agenda was to purchase.
It's sort of fate though, how we went there to just listen for once instead of looking at property.
Yeah, we normally just wander around and don't really listen to any of the seminars, but this time we decided that was what we were doing for the day. So we literally camped out and listened to everyone, and that's how we ended up on Place in the Sun.
We got caught, no queues at the end of the day, and then we got caught and called over, and it just mushroomed from there.
Yeah, they hadn't done their quota of interviews with people. And they said, we just, it's a laugh, isn't it? You know, they won't, because, you know, from Yampy land, they're no way. And we did it, and they said, you know, that was really good, we'll put it to Channel 4. And we really didn't think there'd be anything coming of it, to be fair, did we?
It was a roller coaster once they got in touch.
It was, yeah. So we didn't hit, that was in the March, and we heard in the beginning of June that they wanted us out at the end of June. So they didn't give us much notice.
And you never knew, you wasn't going to answer the call,
no,
because
it was a withheld number,
or an 03.
So I don't normally answer, and but I just did, and it was, hello, it's so from Place in the Sun, and it was like, oh, okay.
Well, from the screen test to getting in touch, and then 2 weeks later we was out in France. Like, it was absolutely crazy. And things that you thought you needed and wanted in France, and then you go there and you see it and you think, oh no, and then all of a sudden, you know, that location, it's all about location, and things that we never dreamed of having, we ended up having, didn't we?
Yeah, because on the screen test we said we wanted a lounge with a barn.
Yeah.
We didn't want a swimming pool. We wanted to be on the edge of a village. And to be fair, the first couple were nothing that we asked for, were they? Really? No. And there was issues with them. And by the third property, I was like, I want to go home. This isn't anything that I wanted to do.
I think this may be deliberate though.
Yeah.
Because like when they show you the showstopper, it sort of impacts well.
Yeah.
And luckily for us, we found the showstopper, didn't we?
Yeah.
So.
But it was non-stop on Place in the Sun. They were really good, don't get me wrong. They provided everything, you know, picked you up from the airport, arranged all the flights, arranged the hotel, bed and breakfast, really nice hotel. They picked you up in the morning, but it was an early start. Then you had like a drive out to the first property, and you had to sort of cover your eyes, you couldn't see anything. But they provide you with 1 meal a day, and in France the 1 meal at a lunchtime is like a 3-course meal, and we're going, wow, I like these, this is good. And then they'd whisk you off and you'd do a bit more, but sometimes you weren't finishing till like 6 o'clock at night. It was a long day and sort of very repetitive. It was do it from this angle and then do it from that angle, and don't say this, and you can't talk here, and
it was good though.
It was good, you got the hang
experience.
of it. Yeah, it was a fantastic experience.
Yeah.
But they were very good, and they arranged everything. So, you know, the experience with Place in the Sun, couldn't knock it apart from them not showing us what we wanted until we got to the one that we picked at the end of the day. Well, when we first started looking for France, we hadn't got any idea about the Haute Vienna, to be fair. And it's just been 3 years of trailing and working out where we wanted to be, not too hot, not too cold, not too far, blah, blah, blah. So we set to Place in the Sun. We wanted to be in the Haute Vienna area around Limoges. And we left the rest to them, basically. And we never knew what area we were going to on any particular house, did we?
50-mile radius.
50-mile radius of the airport was what we stipulated.
Well, that's what they choose to do.
Yeah. so sort of that gave them a restriction, but we did go north, south, east and west. It wasn't just by Black. So really their researchers picked the area really for us once we'd given them the outline of it. I'd done a lot of internet searches, and on the day that we went to see the house that we ended up with, we were driving down the lane, and we, like I say, that they made you look away and cover your eyes so you couldn't see anything. And we were driving down, and we've both got this thing about we didn't want to be by a river and for flooding, and you know. And Gary says, "This is going down." And he said, "If this is at the bottom of the hamlet, I don't want it because all the water's just going off." And they stopped, and it was at the top, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
And I sort of peeked because you just have to, don't you? And I thought, if it's this first house here, yeah, we're good. We're all good to go. It's not going to be a horror story. So they got us out the car, didn't they?
Yeah.
And we walked down, and the closer we got, the more butterflies started. And they stop you so that the cameraman can start when you walk. And they opened the gate, and I stepped onto the front lawn, and I just burst into tears. It was just instant, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And yet it was nothing that we asked for. Yes, it was detached, which we asked for, but it was 2-storey, it was 3-bedroom, there was no barn, there was a garage, and there was this swimming pool, a massive garden, and an orchard on the other side of the road. So it didn't tick any of our boxes at all, but it just hit me, didn't it? I don't know whether it was relief.
Both of us, really.
Yeah, it did, yeah. I think it might have been a relief that, thank God, we've got something that might be a possibility. And then they allowed us to go in, went in the hall, which I've always wanted, haven't I? In Britain, I've always wanted a big hall, and it's got a really nice hall, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And then we stepped up, and all the walls were really thick, and I knew it was a proper stone house. And the lounge, fireplace, you know, all the boxes started to be ticked as we wandered around. And then Laura, the presenter, just let us have a wander around. And we went up the stairs, and it was a lovely wooden stairs, wasn't it? And every bedroom, you know, I opened the door and I thought, well, that will be the one daughter's bedroom, that will be the other daughter's bedroom. And then we went into ours.
Yeah, with an ensuite, which we never
the
thought
previous
we'd get.
owner had converted the corner into like an ensuite with a curved wall.
Yeah.
And it was like a massive room, even with this thing in the corner. And it was like, this is like, yeah.
And also, like, although it was a small hamlet, 85% of the windows all looked onto our garden.
Yes, yeah, we're not overlooked.
And the way the sun come over, it was just ticked every box, really.
Yeah. I mean, on the show we were going, all those trees are too close. Looking with the English head, you know, like you always look, but it did have new roof, it had new windows, new gutter. You know, and
it's no through road.
Yeah.
And the walkways are right by the side of the house.
Yeah.
So
it was like, a literal. You could turn up, put your bags down, and start your break. Like
I say, the location just ticked every box, didn't it?
Yeah. So, you know, that was it really. Yeah, we decided, didn't we, to put a cheeky offer in.
Yeah, well, it's all about septic tanks in it in
France, because it needs a new fauzi and all that lot. And Laura had said, oh, well, you know, they are open for an offer. And I think she sort of said, well, go in about 118, 120 prior to. And we said, oh, no, we're going to go in a bit low. You can always work up. So we went in at 115 sterling. And she put the call in. And I always thought you know, when you watch it, they're not really on the end of the phone, but they are. And she puts the phone down and you're waiting and you're like, okay, like this. But it was really quick, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2 minutes, if that.
Chris rang back and they agreed it. I think I screamed more than any time I've ever screamed. Yeah, and then it was like, oh, we've bought a house. Oh, what do we do now? And
That
the
was
reality,
good though, they supported us and talked us through.
they have been.
They even give you their number in case you had a problem.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
You couldn't fault
Laura said,
them.
I don't know whether she does it with everybody, but she said, I know a lot about buying property in France if you need any help, blah, blah, blah. But to be honest, we haven't had to, have we?
No, everybody's been brilliant.
Yeah. So the place in the sun then sort of don't leave you to it, but it's then your decision and you've got to find your way through. But thankfully, Chris has been, he contacted us the next morning, advised us what we needed to be doing, that he'd contact us when we got back to Britain, and every step. And to be honest, I've only had to message or email and he's back like that. And even the daftest things, he's
we ain't even had an independent solicitor, have we?
No,
because the Mary looks at it from both sides, or the notaire, sorry. The notaire looks at it from both sides. You seem to be reassured, don't you? And the agents have been brilliant.
Yeah, and he has guided. But we have been allowed to do it ourselves as well. It hasn't been all led. So we've been on a learning curve, haven't we?
Yeah.
But I know that we had that person that we could ask if we needed to. And it's funny, we went to the bank to get the bank account yesterday and sat there and she was like, sign this, sign that. And I said, if this was England, I've been reading everything you gave me and I've got no chance of reading everything. So I am trusting you. And it's funny how you do trust.
Yeah.
Like we totally trusted the notaire. We've had nightmares with solicitors in Britain. But I think you embrace the French life. It's just like, yes, what will be, sort of thing. But there hasn't been anything wrong. Even things that we didn't know about, like the planning permission for the windows. It hadn't been passed or something by the Mary, I think. And Chris sorted that out, sent it through. You're all covered, keep that on one side. So we didn't know anything about that, but it was still covered.
Yeah, like I say, the notaire finds things for both sides.
Yes, yeah.
So it's quite thorough, really.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So that was reassuring.
Yeah, but I don't know whether it's a normal thing that it's but it has been relatively easy, hasn't it?
Yeah, it ain't rushed neither.
No.
We thought 3-4 months, and it took us probably 6, didn't it?
Well, beginning of July to beginning of January, we thought, October, November, we'll be
5.5 months. But we could have pushed it, could have had it sooner.
Yeah, but with family circumstances and
I think he'd have never really done it sooner than 4 months.
No, but it didn't seem to matter. Not to us anyway.
But they're thorough, and it was reassuring, and it was a nice experience from start to finish.
Yeah, it has been, it was, I don't know whether all agents are the same, but definitely the experience we've had with Chris and Bow Villages, we didn't really have to worry about anything. Like I said, I know if I had any questions, no matter how small or large it would be. I'm talking from my own personal point of view because I've done most of it, haven't I?
I answered the hard question.
You did, and signed where I told you to sign. But you had that reassurance, you weren't waking up in the morning thinking, I've got to do this, or I've got to do that. I knew there was always, if I needed to check anything or bring anything up, Chris was...
Yeah, I mean, Chris was working for Derek, really, who we bought the house off, but he did quite a lot for us, didn't he? I mean, like, he did as much work for us, if we asked him to, as he did for the seller. And the seller, they paid the costs. We got away without paying the costs.
Because sometimes the buyer pays the costs.
So we couldn't fault him, could we?
No, it's just been a dream, really, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Simple. And I would, not that everybody's is going to be the same, but if the thought that, I'm buying in a different country, I don't know what to do, I don't know how it works, you haven't got to be put off by that. As long as you pick a good agent that's there and supportive for you, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. brought it, we said we didn't need to do a lot of it with it, didn't we? We said it was just to put your bags down and enjoy. He can't do that. He's got to change this, and in the 5.5 months he's been, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and getting stuff to do it and that. So we've already started. We've only been here 2 weeks and we've already started. The plaster's come off, we've found the stone wall, and we're exposing that in the lounge, aren't we? Yeah. I've already got what wallpaper I want here, there and everywhere. There isn't a great deal, it's just putting a personal stamp on it, isn't it? And
I think if we do it now, we can enjoy it for 20 years. Yeah,
we'd rather get it done before people start coming over, because we've got 2 girls with family, a new granddaughter. They're already finding out where the son-in-laws already knows where the golf course is and stuff like that. So they're eager to come over. We've got the brother-in-law wanting to come over, my brother wants to come over, so we want to get as much as we can done before that all starts. But yeah, it's just doing the personal stuff, isn't it? You want to build around the pool, so we've got like a decking area around the pool.
Painted, same colour, just freshen
we're not going to change the colour, just freshen it up and make it our own. You know, the people who live there before taken most of the pictures, so we've just got but we've got like the blank canvas really, you know, to do what we want to do. We can live in it like that if we want to, but I think you've just got to put your own stamp and your own twist on, and that's what we're looking forward to, because we've been in our house in the UK since we were married in 1990. So this is like, it's like being married all over again, doing it all over again.
We were fortunate that some of the furniture was left.
Yes, yeah.
Because it was a British person that owned it. So it has been easy moving there.
Yeah.
And we've got a stepping stone really. Yeah. So that was another good thing.
Settee, beds, everything was left in.
So now, as we go forward, we'll just change things, won't we? Mm.
You've already started buying things, haven't you?
You are.
Oh, yeah. When I had the phone call from the place in the Sun, we obviously had to tell the children, because we hadn't told them because we didn't think anything would come of it. And as we were telling them, the eldest daughter was telling us she was expecting our first grandchild, and it was like, oh, okay, now what do we do? But I think if that had happened before the place in the Sun, we probably wouldn't have done it, because everybody says your grandchildren, they're a tie, which I'm not saying she's not going to be, but it's sort of, we sat there and said, well, you know, what do we want? My parents didn't live their dream, did they, because of family ties? And I just think that, well, the kids are both on board now, aren't they?
Yeah, well, they were on board before, but they said like that they're glad we've got it.
Yeah.
Because they can enjoy it as well as us.
And the grandkids can come over and spend quality time, rather than being, you know, Nan who just picks up from school sort of thing. So they can come over and enjoy our other house as well, can't
we
they?
We can get the kids for school 6 months of the year.
And then 6 months, wave at them via Zoom.
That's 50-50, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, we've had the house on for a month or so and had a few viewings on it, and the way the Place in the Sun work, when their producers are coming out and their researchers, they give you the client's criteria, but they send you a list of things they've seen on your website that they think might work. It was at a time when there wasn't many mandates coming on that time of year. The time of year that this all happened, there was a little bit of a drop with changes in the market, and we were going for a bit of a change. And they had 3 or 4 to look at, none of which I actually thought would suit these buyers. But they insisted that they would go and do them, and we showed them to them. We'll film those 3. And of course, I think it was probably about a day before they were coming to film live with us. And it was actually my wife Nikki said to me, "Oh, you know, what about this one? I think this one it's a bit more expensive than the budget, but there might be some flexibility." So I sent it to them, and they come to look at it quickly, like the look of it, and said, "Yeah, we'll include that." And obviously, it was a very last-minute house that wasn't part of the plan, and it obviously proved to be the right one, so it worked really well. Yeah, tend to, I didn't actually go to the house and film this one. I think my colleague Joe went because I was busy. But we will meet the film crew there beforehand, before the buyers even get there, and we'll do some bits with them there. And they do tell us a bit more about the house, and we do a bit of stuff with them. Then it's all a bit cloak and dagger from there. The buyers are very kept secret. They're not allowed to see the house before they come down, and you know, sometimes I'll be in there and they've driven the buyers around the corner and I've gone and chatted to them, but I wasn't allowed to tell them anything about the house. And then they start the process. It's a good, what you see is a good 2.5, 3 hours at one house sometimes. It can be quite long-winded. And they do, when they do that final thing at the end and they say, do you want to make an offer? I always felt, I actually ringing an agent, but having obviously worked with them since I moved to France, and this is one of a number of sales we've done with them now, and they do phone you. It's all fully legit. It's all, they phone you, they give you the offer, you don't know the offer, and you do literally put the phone down, you phone your seller, you try and negotiate with your seller, and you go back. Sometimes I can't actually remember exactly whether we did it on the first offer or whether we had to go back and back, but that will happen until we've either agreed it or not, and then that's when you see the close in the show that unfortunately we can't agree it. Or good news, you've got your house, and on this occasion we were able to facilitate.